Hi, this is Gideon Mendel. I'm talking to you from my studio, which is a loft room at the top of my home in London. I think, like many of us, have been struggling to deal with both the personal and the global implications of the coronavirus crisis. I think things have been moving so quickly and changing so much day to day that there's a lot for us to process and deal with. I certainly haven't as yet found that I've got space for reflection and reading the classics and watching box sets. It feels like there's so much to do. Personally, a big priority day to day is taking care of my partner Sarah, who's a nurse working like a demon at the moment. And, she's at the center of the response, trying to keep essential services going at a local hospital. As this was all beginning, I just returned from Australia. I had been photographing the aftermath of the fires, part of my ongoing work about climate change. So I've got a lot to do still, editing this work, working with the photographs, the text and the video. I'm busy shaping that. I have also, as a particular response to this time, begun a series of creative dialogues with other photographers, artists, curators, publishers, who I feel I've got some affinity with, where there's a crossover in our work and our practices. I've done one so far with Australian photographer and artist Alethea Casey, and I'm busy editing that. I'm soon going to be placing them on my website, so they'll be publicly viewable, edited dialogues. I think for me, using this as a time of kind of personal and general introspection. I've also been kind of in the process of looking at some elements of my archive with particular relevance to this time. In particular, my project The Ward was a book published 2 years ago, my work on an AIDS ward, which I photographed in London in 1993. And I've had a lot of inquiries and questions about that body of work recently, particularly because of its many residences and kind of parallels with the current crisis. I mean, I think in particular the intimacy and the touch and the closeness that's evident in my photographs in the ward are in such contrast to what's necessary at the moment. So I've been, doing a lot of thinking about that work and looking at prints and what I can do with some of that work at the moment. I've also been doing some photography myself on my kind of essential shopping trips and exercise trips. I've been using my phone to photograph some of the strange things that are going on in the world. I've had a sense of something feeling very dystopian and kind of apocalyptic. That may well be a projection of mine, but that's some of what I've been trying to photograph. And if you're interested, you can view that on my Instagram feed. I'm calling it the Strange Days series. Going forward, I think I'm, of course, very concerned about what's going on in the world, and particularly concerned about South Africa. If the virus grows exponentially, I fear for the damage it could wreak. I'm concerned about how this is going to play out for my own work in the future, for the lives of kind of friends and family and people and businesses I'm connected to. I'm also very aware that there are kind of a lot of people doing great things in the world. I was just talking to a close friend. She's a nurse who's working on a ward dealing with coronavirus. In immense discomfort, it's really, really hard for her. And she just moved into a new flat before this happened, and a neighbor who she doesn't even know learnt that she's a nurse working in the ward and leaves her dinner every night on her doorstep. She comes home to find a meal waiting for her every day. And that's just a thought I'm leaving you with. There are really amazing things happening in the world, and it's a challenge, but I think they're good things, and hopefully some good things will emerge.